Hello YouTube, Alan back with a response video. I haven't done one for a while, lack of time and sort of I suppose a bit of laziness thrown in there for good measure, and I figured I better get back at it. And this week I seen Ed T1138's Top 3 Tuesday question was posted by a guy called the Atari 7800 Junkie, and I thought, with a name like that, is going to be a question I'm going to want to answer. Now, he asked, what is your top 3 favourite Atari game on an Atari system? So it could be the 2600, the 5200, 7800 Jaguar, so on. I assume it meant home computers as well, but I haven't actually played any of those, so it was going to be consoles for me. And I actually don't have a hell of a lot of games in my Atari collection, although I've played quite a few, so largely at friends' house and whatnot, so it's going to be kind of sort of make believe with the props, but we'll get there. So I'll just jump straight in because we gotta let's get to the point on these. Number 3, we have PacMan, and I know what you're probably thinking. Have you only played 3 Atari games to pick this? No, I don't mean PacMan. I actually mean ms.pac-man on the Atari 7800, but I don't have that cartridge, so PacMan is standing in as a kind of a pseudo prop. Pretend I'm a good game. No, you're not a good game. Not even close to a good game. But anyway, Ms. Pac-Man on the other hand, both the 2600 and in particular the 7800 version are much, much better Pac-Man games. And when I think of the Atari era, you can't help but think of, the big arcade titles, Donkey Kong, Space Invaders, and Pac-Man being one of them for sure. And to be able to play that properly at home was, a great experience. It was like bringing the arcade home, and the 7800 did deliver it. Now, I played games like Asteroids, another great game, another big arcade hit, and to then play Pac-Man was like, wow, this really does have arcade games. We can see that they're not quite there, especially Asteroid, not Vector, but at the time it really did feel like it was bringing the arcade home. And unlike this one, which really didn't bring the arcade home, Ms. Pac-Man and the 7800 did. So that was my number 3 pick. Number 2, and again I'm making up kind of props, it's the Atari Anthology. No, that's on the PlayStation 2, which is definitely not an Atari system. They wish. But of course this is a compilation. So I'm picking a game out of this, but this is my prop. And the game is going to be Yars Revenge. Now, there's 67, they say, Atari 2600 games on there, and it's a great way to play, just to dip your toe into if you have kind of a small interest because it's a great compilation, 85 games, and I've played some of them on real hardware, so I'm sure the emulation's not 100%, but it's a good way to experience them. Anyway, it's besides the point. Yars Revenge, a really, really good game. It's one of those games that gets down to the pure essence of gameplay. The graphics are minimalistic, as you'd expect for 2600, but they totally do the job. And they actually do convey, if you've ever heard the story of Yars Revenge, or you've heard the audio tape, and you actually, you say, does that game represent the story? It does, despite the limitations. And, it's one of those, you play it, think it's a simple concept, but you keep coming back to it because it's quite addictive. And quite tricky too, you can get clear a level or two, no problem. And for those not aware, basically, you're a Yar and you've got to defend your space area. I can't remember the planet it's called, or the solar system you're defending from these invading aliens, usual thing. And you got this bar in the center that's your kind of safe area, and you got to kind of keep attacking this kind of mother base, breaking through the shield to shoot the core. Kind of reminds me of Star Wars in a way, but probably better than the Star Wars games in my opinion. So yeah, it was just such an addictive game, and you had to balance the whole going to your safe zone versus attacking, and yeah, it just narrowly beat out a few others, things like Adventure, groundbreaking to make, that sort of more complex adventure-driven game, well obviously adventure, hence the title, on such a limited resource machine. And yeah, there's many others on the 2600, but that's my one 2600 title, no more. Because number 1, and I did kind of touch upon it in the name, the Atari 7800 Junkie, I actually have more experience with the 7800 than I do with the 2600, because one of my neighbours grew up with the 7800, so that's where I would have played, you know, Donkey Kong and ms.pac-man and loads of other different games he's gotten. And one in particular, I absolutely just loved. By far and away my favourite Atari game. And it is, no, I nearly picked the PacMan again. I'm just obsessed with the PacMan cartridge. And no, it is Atari Warriors. I was going to say on Atari 700, duh. Now, what can I say about this game? It's a port of the SNK arcade game. There are probably more people would be more familiar with the NES port. There's like 3 games on the NES, I think. But this one blows the NES version out of the water, in my opinion. The graphics are better, the controls are better. It's got a beautiful difficulty curve, and it's got different difficulty settings. So as you progress, you can kind of go through. It's so addictive. Great power ups. You got a tank that you can get into, and I tend not to. But I remember when I was playing with my friend, because it's got a superb 2-player mode. You fighting over getting into the tank and all this sort of stuff. I cannot, you know, speak highly enough about this game. It's so addictive, and I just played it and played it and played it back in the day. And it's one of the few cases where I even like swapped the system with my friend just to play this one game. Pretty much, I played Pac-Man, really liked it, but this game was the one that made me kind of go, you know what? I really would want a 7800 in my collection, and that in itself, I think, says it all. It sells the system. And for me, it's my favourite Atari game. Probably a little different, I'm guessing, than most people, because I had like 2 7800 games, but it's a system that I think deserves a little bit more love than it gets. It had a fairly short lifespan, but there's some good titles worth checking out. And if nothing else, check out Atari Warriors, and check out Ed T11's channel and the Atari Junkies channel too. So, thanks for watching, thanks for the question, and we'll see you again soon. Hopefully, maybe with another response video at some point, you know. Might get back to it a bit more regularly. Bye for now.